Interesting you bring that up. Because the next subject at hand here, and I'm going to let the person come forward and explain himself. Details, information has come across the table of one of our boys here, our brothers, our family, did something to spite one of his brothers. I'm going to give that person the opportunity to come forward and explain himself.
Is this me again?
I think it's himself, right?
Hey, Harry, if you feel like it's you, feel free to bring up what's on your mind, my friend.
Actually, no. I'm gonna go back to silence for a little bit.
Why is that, Harry?
I don't think it was me.
You sure about that, Harry?
Yes.
Something pertaining, the act of violence against an individual, and this person's only reason of wanting to do that was to spite someone.
Huh?
Oh, yeah. I suppose I could speak on the matter, yes.
The floor is yours, Harry Brown.
Oh, boy. Well, I guess time to paint another picture here. Let's rewind to Thursday last week, a couple of years back.
Right.
We, after many, many, many tedious, horrendous meetings with Dr. Yu, the four musketeers are at their wits' end with this guy. He keeps on cooling up, wants more meetings. This particular day, someone wanted to get a little bit rusty. And someone at the table, said, handle this Dr. Yu meeting, boys. I'm feeling rusty. The four musketeers are now the three musketeers, and they go to the meeting with Dr. Yu. And I personally had a realization about Serbia this whole time. I was fooled in thinking this man had some secret cool underground lab in Los Santos, but he doesn't. He has to travel to Serbia for all his business, and I was livid at my realization how I've been tricked this entire time. And the three musketeers had a sidebar and decided that we ain't going to goddamn fucking Serbia. We're going to take this guy. We're going to keep him hostage, keep him a prisoner of war, and he was going to do our bidding. And that's exactly what we did. The guy asked for a fridge, I got him a fridge. He asked for a lead-plated box, I got him a lead-plated box. He asked for a stash, I got him a goddamn stash. Things were looking good. Things were looking up in the world. We had the only guy in the city that could produce cocainium. We had him.
Yes, we did.
Fast forward to Friday. We have our Cerberus meeting. We go to the roof. Lang tells the three musketeers that they're fucking stupid and it's the worst idea he's ever heard of. And he storms off in rage.
Yes.
And leaves the three musketeers. The three musketeers try to continue their plan that they had all along. Dr. Yu was growing impatient. He'd been down in Speedy's basement for an entire year. He was losing his patience and wanted us to hurry the fuck up. The three musketeers secured the cocaine. It was we had the bricks. There was one thing missing. Uranium. Now, there's one part I was missing, that on Thursday the three musketeers actually found the uranium in a secret location underground. It was found. It wasn't taken. It wasn't touched. But we knew where it was. And after speaking with Lando, we knew how to safely transport it, and I think, you know, the Three Musketeers were going to give it a shot on Friday, since, you know, the fourth Musketeer didn't seem to want to be involved in the whole thing. We proceeded cautiously.
Right.
We pulled up to the secret spot, and the Three Musketeers somehow had lost their keys and couldn't access the building. At which point one of the Musketeers, the shortest of the Musketeers, lost his patience and started blasting 20 shots in one of the Musketeers' son's car.
Hold up, wasn't there 4 Musketeers at this point?
Was there?
Nothing?
Let
Maybe
him
Speedy
finish
cousin.
the fucking story.
Sorry, I'm trying. Okay.
That was, yeah, that's right. Sorry. There was 4 Musketeers. After this, you know, after many suggestions from the Musketeers about, you know, how to strike back, and if we did, it would start, you know, a world war, and it would be the darkest timeline, and we weren't going to do that. We were still left with a problem. There was no uranium rods, and we had a goddamn doctor in the basement who was growing impatient. And without the uranium, he would be completely useless and serve no purpose. Now, unfortunately, the doctor that morning had been taken out of the basement by the guards and taken to a clothing store where he was able to acquire a hazmat suit. And he knew exactly roughly where he was. The 4 Musketeers tried very hard to secure the uranium rods, but to no avail. And as a collective group, decided the best thing for the doctor would be to execute him, and to cut him up in tiny pieces and throw him into a barrel of acid. And one of the Musketeers, you know, understanding that he could never strike out and hurt one of the family, one of the loved ones, he would never cross the line, that instead, out of spite, he would execute someone that he could to prove a point and to be spiteful. Because you can't hurt family.
And what was that point, Harry Brown?
That is the point. The point that you can't hurt family, but you can absolutely hurt other people.
Just to spite the family, Harry Brown?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for coming clean with that, Harry Brown. But you forgot the little part in your story, in your painting, Harry Brown. You forgot about the salesman who gave you your paintbrushes and the paint to paint this picture. Because without him, you'd be left with nothing but a blank canvas, Harry Brown. And that salesman is the same salesman you lashed out on due to spite. You ever think about that, Harry Brown?
Yes. And personally, I have no issue with the salesman. And I understood that the uranium wasn't mine. That's why I left the problem solving to Speedy, because it's not my uranium. I couldn't give a shit. It's not mine to... Excuse me?
I thought it was the Musketeers.
Right, but we, you know,
Specific now, you know, specific.
we're in specifics now.
Sorry.
Now.
You see,
Sorry, continue.
I was just doing, you know, if you want me to be completely honest, when you said you were going to get rusty and you told us to take care of it and you'd gone to bed, I was just trying to spice things up a little bit. And spice things up, I did. And we were all hoping, and I speak for everyone here, that on Friday you were going to join us with this complete wild, ridiculous shit. And it just didn't work out that way.
Which brings us to our problem, although there's a few to bring up. But spicing things for the sake of spice is never usually the answer, Harry Brown.
The
And in
thing is,
understanding that,
I did not act alone. I acted with the other
With the
musketeers.
musketeers,
And I
yes.
think the other musketeers should also put in their perspective here.
Oh, 100%. I'll
Yes.
go
And
ahead.
well, before the musketeers speak, you need to understand that the salesman, the painter who gave you these wonderful colors and these paint brushes to paint this very beautiful story you have told, was working for months and months to get these paintbrushes and these colors. And he did not have to share that with anybody, Harry Brown. But what do they say? One for all and all for one. And that was the mantra he was operating by. He said, well, I've worked so very hard to obtain these colors and these paintbrushes. Why would I not share this with my musketeers? And in return, his painting was destroyed.
The other musketeers able to speak?
Well, just to also address another problem in this story is you forgot about the chat. What is that thing called in Lord of the Rings? The little thing, the little
about
thing,
the what?
chat. The little fucking goblin thing. What is it called again? Gollum. You ever heard of Gollum in Lord of the Rings?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he was also in this story. And the Gollum went by the name of Speedy. And this Gollum got so high, so very high, on the mystic leaves he found out in the enchanted forest, that he came back to speak to the painter. And they went at each other for hours, yelling at the top of their lungs, but came to a conclusion at the very end, to sleep on it until Monday. They agreed to not do anything, to not make a single move until Monday. But this Gollum was so high that he misunderstood the entire discussion. So when the painter went to sleep under the tree out in the forest for about 20 minutes, he woke up again to find out that nobody but him slept on it, and actions were made without his awareness, thanks to the Gollum, who was too high to understand anything of what was going on.
May the Gollum speak.
The Gollum may speak.
Well, it is true. I do love my precious. But, you see, the Gollum wasn't high. The Gollum was so much heated trying to save the musketeers and everybody combined again. And he was trying to work with the painter to get the other musketeers and the painter all to agree to meet and get along, that he realized that what the fuck is going on, which he actually said also in the conversation, because he was like 1.5 hours, and he thought that on Monday everybody was gonna meet and talk about it, but he didn't think like he should save the scientists to Monday. He thought, we get rid of the scientists and then
The
speak about our
alchemist.
problems on Monday. The alchemist, and then speak about our problems on Monday. So that's why he did not. He told the other musketeers like we can have a meeting on Monday, but he did not mention the part where the painter potentially wanted the scientist to be alive, because in the conversation it was many things about dying and being alive and dying and being alive, which the Gollum misunderstood.
Now, the Gollum misunderstood a lot of things thanks to these herbs that he smoked out in this enchanted forest, but the Gollum also wanted to act out in malice and to hurt the painter because he heard the untold stories, the myths of the painter having a legendary key And behind this door, riches beyond your wildest dreams. And this golem came up with a plan to steal this very key.
Wait, what? Who came up with the plan? The golem protest. The golem.
I don't think that was the golem, man.
Did not suggest to steal the key. The golem was talking how the painter always keep things over us, right? We should put, the golem was suggestion, maybe, keep it over him. He did not suggest to steal the key at all.
I think, if I'm remembering correctly, didn't the golem suggest moving the riches? Not stealing the key, moving the riches?
Well, the golem was brainstorming with his fellow musketeers. Not that he knew one of them was taking it literally.
Yes, and the golem concocted these dark plans to betray the painter, one of his longest friends, one of his hardest workers. And in that, the painter found out, and he felt very betrayed by the golem, although he realizes he is a golem who is crazy. He's a golem who's addicted to the enchanted herbs. He never thought the golem would plot against him, which caused the painter to go on a down spiral of chaos, no control, until he was reeled back in by the third musketeer. Go ahead, Denzel.
What do you want me to say? Who the fuck is the painter?
I'm the fucking painter.
He's the painter. How do you not know that he's not?
This shit is so
that he's
cooked.
literally the painter. No, he's not.
Yeah,
It's not cooked. I'm the fucking painter.
Full fucking story, and I know that
It literally all makes sense.
he's the fucking golem, and you two are the fucking other musketeers.
There was 3 musketeers
It's
when there was
really
4
easy to pick
musketeers
up
the
here,
entire
Denzel.
I
time.
thought there was 5
Oh my
musketeers.
God. No, there was
No.
4, and
There
then
was
he mentioned
3 musketeers,
Come on,
right?
guys.
And then the 4th one joined, but the 3rd musketeer was
Exactly.
actually a golem the whole time. How'd you not keep up with this?
Exactly. Come on.
I want to say a few things.
All right.
One of the musketeers, along with Denzel, one of the musketeers, shut down the golem's brainstorming. Although we did listen to him, and we did laugh, but we shut it down because we said it would, cause bridges to be broken that could never be repaired, and we don't want to go there. We don't want to
do that.
We don't want to do that. However, one of the musketeers felt very left out. The fact that the painter had an hour-and-a-half conversation with the golem, and then another long meeting in Bangladesh with the other musketeer. Yeah, one of the musketeers was radio silence with the painter. Even though this musketeer was probably one of the most level-headed and calm during the whole thing.
Now, you must understand that the painter is very easily influenced by paranoia and dark whispers. And the golem refused to relay any information to the musketeers or what they spoke in that mystic plane. Gave them no information. And then when he woke up, the golem disappeared. And based on that assumption, he thought the golem went back to the musketeers to let them know everything he spoke about with the painter. And based on that, he saw the results of the musketeers executing the alchemist. And what he thought was out of spite due to the fact that he thought everybody was aware we were going to sleep on this until fucking Monday. Now, the painter refused to communicate with this certain musketeer because the other musketeer was feeding him information on how this musketeer does not admire the painter anymore for who he is. And in that, the painter was heartbroken and wanted nothing to do with this musketeer anymore because the musketeer failed to realize how hard this painter worked to grab these paintbrushes and these paints to then hopefully paint a beautiful picture of cocainium and money with his fellow mates. Now, the painter went back to the inn after this long and treacherous day, realizing it was one of the worst days of his life. And he went to go lay down and brainstorm about what does he do moving forward. So he came up with a bright idea to bring all these fellow members to the dungeon chambers to discuss what transpired that day and to come up with a solution. Now, the only solution this painter was able to think of is we either all pledge absolute loyalty to one another, signed in blood, or we begin to untangle this web that goes deep between the painter, the musketeers, and the golem. For this web is becoming too tangled. One string is pulled one direction, it pulls 50 other strings with it. And for that is the reason as to why the painter, the golem, and its fellow musketeers has been running into so many problems. So it's now time to decide what the painter, the golem, and its fellow musketeers will do to prevent this from happening anymore.
Right. Right.
The only musketeer that haven't spoken yet is Denzel. And it's...
I'll go ahead.
We welcome Denzel to speak at the guild table.
The musketeers did get one thing from the phone call between the golem and the painter. And it was
It
that
wasn't
Gollum
a
has
phone
very
call. They
sweaty
spoke
back.
on a mystic plane,
Okay,
Denzel.
whatever. Well, Gollum has a very sweaty back is what we got from that.
Yes.
Now, I think that all of us at this table, not just the musketeers, not just Gollum, not just the painter, need to remember that we're all family and that we all love one another, and that when tensions get high, just need to stop and breathe and remember we're all going to have each other's backs no matter what. So I think that moving forward, rather than detangle the web, that maybe we all swear loyalty to one another, because no matter if it's the painter, the golem, the musketeers, or the cringe racer in the room, I'll always have it.
What the fuck?
Sorry, I love you
It's
too.
okay. I love you too.
I will always have everybody's back in this room no matter what.
Here, 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 here.
Here, here.
Come on, everybody,
I don't
fucking
know
say
what
it.
that means.
Just say
Here,
here,
here.
here. It's like amen.
Here.
Here.
Now, those are the only two paths that lies between this guild of the painter, the golem, and the fellow musketeers. Will they choose to keep intertwining these webs and coming down to a blood-packed loyalty between one another, or will they choose to start untangling the mess they potentially got themselves in? What is the decision we make here tonight? You guys raising your hands or making a decision? I can't tell.
I'm raising my hand because I do. The golem have something to say to the painter.
Okay, Gollum.
The golem speaks freely now. I hope the painter do not take it the wrong way. The golem.
Gollum, before you speak, just understand we spoke for about an hour now, worked through everything in this enchanted story. Please do not ruin it.
Yes, the golem is not trying to ruin everything. The golem loves everybody too in this room. He never likes to say it because he's an emotional man who likes to cry in the shower, not outside of the shower. But the point is, the golem also, the golem sometimes do miss the ring, always thinks about the ring, but he also do want to have the painter to sometimes also, before he brushes off the paint, he looks at the paint and thinks, maybe the musketeers and the golem choose this different paint. It might be a bad paint, but I'm gonna take a look at it. That's all the golem wishes, so that the bond between the painter and the golem and the musketeers will be never stopped, just like it haven't for years.
Yes, but the Golem must understand that does not excuse any dark action the Golem takes. The painter cannot simply understand every painting for a painting has 1,000 different meanings, Gollum. And
Gollum
nobody
it
is
is.
perfect. Now, what do we decide here? Right now. Starting with the Gollum.
The Gollum used to be in the Sauron's army when they took him in. They took him in and he was hostage for years. And he felt trapped in the mountains. He tried to escape many times, but he couldn't. But lucky enough, the Gollum managed to escape the barrio, the mountains of the barrio. And, well, he didn't do it because... you know, he hated Mordor. He did it because he loved the painter and the fellow musketeers. He did it because he could have freedom. He did it so he could be closer to the musketeers and the painter. So the Gollum, even though he likes to think about the ring much, is still on the same goal to be closer, like always with the painter and the musketeers, and be blooded.
What do you choose, Spiegel? Do you choose to untangle the web or the blood pact?
Smeagol chooses
Spiegel,
the
not
blood
Spiegel.
pact. Schmeagol.
Spiegel.
Spiegel chooses the blood pact if the blood is pure.
Understood. What about the first musketeer next to Spiegel?
This musketeer thinks that we should follow the old ballads of Three Musketeers. And there's a saying there that we should all follow. And the saying is, all for one and one for all. Or the other way around, I'm not sure.
No, that was correct. The first musketeer has spoken. What about the second musketeer?
The second musketeer thinks that when he is left to take care of a task, he will take care of it in the best way he can. Understanding that he may not always do the right thing, but he has been trusted to take care of it, and take care of it he will. And the second musketeer is very ruthless and very reckless and sometimes very stupid, but he has always been like that, and that is who he is at his core, and he has to be accepted. And he will only give his blood if all this is taken into account.
Yes, but the second musketeer must also take to account how easily these words can be abused. Now we go on to a side story, a very short one to prove this point. Is the second musketeer would frequent a brothel with his boys at night, and we would drink tons of mead and get very drunk. And the second musketeer would always tell us a story about the two princesses who ran the castle, and how he felt like these princesses felt invulnerable, untouchable, and can face no consequence. And that's why this second musketeer felt like these princesses would always lash out, make the wrong decisions, and do whatever they want, for they felt invulnerable. The painter, in a very, very drunk moment, had an epiphany. Is this musketeer projecting how he feels? Or does he operate out of truly pure intentions?
In this situation, On Friday, the second musketeer did absolutely act out of spite in voting to kill Dr. Yu. However, it was just one of 4 votes, and all other 3 votes concluded the same solution.
And the painter understands
Hold on.
that.
The musketeer also did not know about leaving things until Monday.
And therefore, the painter understood all this. The painter understood everything that transpired that day. And thus chose to move on from it. Only if he can gather his fellow mates in the guild dungeon and make them all do this blood pact that is pure and with good intent. And if that is everybody's intention, the painter will trust everybody to do what is best for them and their fellow mates in the guild. He will never question even if they do fuck up. He will deal with it as long as he feels the intent was pure.
Yes.
I do have one question for the painter.
Yes.
The second musketeer has concerns.
Well, speak them.
The only real concern, the second musketeer was very calm and level-headed on Friday because he had no stakes in what transpired. He understood that the uranium was never his. However, he did see that, or was told that some of the uranium belonged to Gollum.
Yes.
Now,
Yes, and
I
Gollum
felt
failed
sorry.
to mention
Hold
that the painter... Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just going to say that the second musketeer and maybe the other musketeer, maybe all the musketeers, felt very bad for Gollum when his keys were removed and the Gollum could no longer take what he thought was his.
Yes, but the Gollum and the Musketeers must understand that sometimes this could be the Dark One whispering into her ear, because even the Gollum himself forgot that the painter was simply protecting the best interests of the painter and the Gollum, because the Gollum and the painter have been working a very long time on a mystic art magic which will destroy the world once harnessed. And in order to do so, they would have needed all 6 rods of this uranium. And to give it one to make cocainium will destroy the Gollum's dreams of destroying the world. Therefore, he refused.
Well, the Gollum did not know about this, but now he knows.
Once again, the Gollum presenting to his fellow mates that he forgets a lot of shit somehow, even when it's drilled into his fucking head.
Well, the Gollum knows that it was 8 originally, but 2 got lost.
3 are missing. The guild only has 5 rods. The alchemist allegedly had the other.
And 2 missing on the streets, somewhere in the Midgard.
Yes. Now, back to the Musketeer of Brown. Is there any other concerns you feel you need to bring up here at the table?
Yes, there is. You see, the second musketeer sometimes, you know, when
What's up,
the
Alex?
other fellow musketeers and the painter goes to bed, still has the goal of his day and is sometimes a very crazy person. And the second musketeer would like to know whether he will always be loved no matter, you know, how badly he messes up. And needs to understand going forward that the musketeers and the painter will have his back before he accepts going forward. If not, the second musketeer might have to untangle the web because he can't help but be himself. and wants nothing more than to be accepted by his family.
Can the bard interject?
You know, the bard, the horse racer. Listen.
Fuck.
The second musketeer needs to understand that he is free to do as he wishes, as long as his intent is pure, you see. The painter has been trying to paint this picture to the second musketeer for weeks. Another side quest story, the painter went on an adventure with an insane barbarian by the name of Otto. And in this adventure, Otto and the painter put together a massive bomb to blow up the kingdom of Haze. And he decided to not involve any of his fellow mates, for he did not want to drag anybody into the potential blowback and consequences of his actions. The second musketeer must learn to keep the crazy shit he wants to do separate from the serious quests that him and his fellow mates go on. Once he can accept this, balance is restored.
Yes, the second musketeer understands. Because the second musketeer did go off by himself and shoot the living fuck out of Seaside. So the second musketeer does understand.
And you see, the mates and the painter do not give a shit because blowback never came to them. And as long as the second musketeer can keep it that way, what is there to worry about?
Yes.
So what does the second musketeer choose in this great adventure?
He chooses to stand tall like the wall he is and continue defending the group, the family.
Yes.
Here, 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 here.
Here.
Here, here.
All right, third musketeer, what is your decision?
I think that, like I originally said, I believe that all three musketeers, the painter, Gollum, the horse racer, we all should be standing united. But I think if we go down this path, I think everybody, not just, I won't name names, but everybody needs to have full trust in everybody at this table. There shouldn't be doubt for anybody at this table to not freak out and do things without talking to everybody at the table. Have full trust in everybody at this table moving forward.
Here, here.
Yeah.
Here.
Here.
Here, here.
As long as the intent is always pure. What is your decision, third musketeer?
Well, my decision is for the blood pact.
Here, here.
Here, here.
Now, horse racer, we understand that on this quest, this journey, the musketeers, the golem, and the painter have gone on. You fucked off to another land to breed and race with other horse racers. What is your opinion on this tale you have heard here today?
As the horse racer, I'm always moving fast, overlooking things I should slow down on. But as the horse racer, I'm quick to pick up on things, know what direction to move in when it's needed. As being a horse racer, excuse me, I'm up high and can oversee a lot of things. And there's one thing I can see, is that the golem and the musketeers and the painter all have one thing in common. And that one thing is what we all actually share. Imperfection. No one's perfect.
Here,
We
here.
make mistakes.
Here.
Here, here.
Here,
Here,
here.
here. Here, here. As the horse racer, I need the three musketeers, the painter, and the golem to all understand that there's a seat on the back of my horse for whenever you need it. If you ever need to get somewhere fast, I have your back. Here, here.
Here, here.
Here.
This concludes today's tale of the painter, the golem, the three musketeers, and the horse racer. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Oh.
Here, here.
Here.
I think we should do one more thing.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we should each apologize for one maybe mistake or oversight or action. Starting with the golem and moving around the table, ending with the painter, please.
Here,
Just so we
here.
can bury this in Bangladesh and ground the door moving forward.
Here, here. I agree. Golem.
Apology. The golem, well, the golem does apologize for getting sweaty on his back and not remembering to relay all the information. And yeah, no, that's what the golem, apologized for, and also for sometimes passion for his ring where he forgets stuff, but he means well. So the golem is sorry for the times where he forgets stuff.
Here, here. Musketeer.
I apologize for letting Gollum fuck up, and I promise I will take better care of him. Here.
Here, here.
The second
Musketeer number 2.
musketeer is sorry for wanting to kill the doctor out of spite to the painter. And
Someone's got to make some fan art of this shit, chat. Please,
also
I'm begging. I'll
for
pay
not
for
being
it.
the bigger man and trying harder to reach out the painter to maybe fill in any miscommunications.
Here, here.
Here, here.
Here.
Is it my turn?
Yes, third musketeer it is.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that. I'm sorry if I hurt anybody at this table in any sort of way. I did not mean to cause any harm to anybody at this table. So I apologize.
Here, here.
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 Horse
here.
racer, you have anything you would like to say?
Horse. As the horse racer, I'm going to apologize for leaving these lands and heading to Spain to produce some of the best horses I possibly could for this family. But as the
Here.
horse racer, I apologize for not being here to give you a ride when you need it.
Here, here.
Here, here.
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 Now,
Here.
as the painter, I want to apologize to absolutely fucking nobody.
Fucking
No, I'm just
nobody.
kidding. I'm kidding. As the painter, I would like to apologize to the third musketeer for misplacing my trust in him for a brief moment. To the golem for expecting him to relay information when he was having a good high, and for ruining that high by bombarding him with information I needed him to relay. And to the second musketeer for not placing trust in him to make the right decisions when the painter is not around. I will do better in doing that as long as the intent is pure.
Here.
Here.
Here,
Here,
here. Here, here. Here, here.
Now, what happens in Bangladesh stays in Bangladesh. The tale is over. We can move on now.